Welcome to another Recovery of the Month with Fortress Physical Therapy. I'm Dr. Amy. Thanks for joining in. Today's focus is going to be more on the hip or lower back area, but primarily the hip joint. So a very quick analogy in how the hip is built, which is similar to the shoulder. It's a ball and socket joint. So meaning there's a socket that's kind of like a C-shaped or a moon, half moon shaped, and there's a ball that kind of fits into this socket. And the ball rotates in the socket as well as the socket rotates around the ball. So the hip itself, the pelvis, is the actual socket, and where the femur bone or our thigh bone that comes up and connects into our hip, that's the ball portion. So we're gonna move a couple different ways where, depending if our feet are kind of planted into the ground, the socket is going to rotate around the ball. And then when our foot is not planted to something, the ball is going to rotate in the socket. So I'll kind of explain that as I go over some movements that we have prescribed today. So on my handy whiteboard here to the side, somewhere between 3 to 4 cycles, pending your time constraints. We have 10 standing staggered toe touches or sky reach to toe touch, 5 standing hip cars or controlled articular rotations. We're going to go forward with that. And then 10 standing single leg calf raises or heel raises, and ending with those hip cars again, but in the reverse range of motion. So all of this, honestly, the only thing that you may need is a wall or something that's very sturdy for assistance and for balance. So first movement, staggered stance, toe touches or sky reach to toe touch. All we're doing is getting into this semi-staggered position. The leg that is in front is the leg that we're kind of stretching or mobilizing. So just kind of reaching up, full range of motion, coming down, touching the ground. We're gonna get into 10 on the right, 10 on the left. As you get a little bit more mobile, that front leg, you'll see mine, we wanna kind of get as straight as we can. The more straight and the staggered in front, the higher perhaps we're gonna feel that stretch or focus at the higher portion of the hamstring. So we're gonna do 10 on the right, 10 on the left. My back foot, I'm thinking as if I'm on railroad tracks. So I do want my back heel to stay in contact. I'm gonna do one more, I lost count, but 10 on the right, nice, easy. 10 on the left. I'm just gonna switch feet. I'm gonna face the camera here. Again, staggered stance if I was standing on railroad tracks. Reach up as high as we can, coming down. Woo. Reach up, down. Awesome. And you might notice or feel a difference from side to side. I know when I come down, I felt my back leg kind of twist like this. I want to try to prevent that. I want my toes pointing forward. Just kind of helps us maintain a specific plane of motion, which in this case, this forward and backward plane is called the sagittal plane. I'm going to do 2 more. Again, we're going to focus on 10 reps. All right, so next movement, 5 standing assisted or a hand maybe on a wall or something sturdy, hip cars. We're going to go in a clockwise position. You're going to do 5 on the right, 5 on the left. And I also like to think of these as like a warm-up drill that athletes may do when they're performing track and field. So I'm going to work on my left leg here first. So I'm going to go in this clockwise position. So you'll see on this specific leg, I'm going to start back first, rotate my leg out to the side, come around and bring it across. Now that's going to be opposite when I do it on my other leg, but we're going to focus on kicking our leg back first. So we're going to start in this knee bent position. My stance leg is trying to be straight as best I can. This is where this ball and socket comes into place. So the hip that's moving, we are moving that ball within the socket, as opposed to, as I failed to mention on the first movement, where we were moving the socket around the ball. So that is termed arthrokinematics for us nerds out there. Okay, so hip cars. So we're going to start with this extension as far back as we can, coming out, bringing that hip forward. Now my stance leg, I'm trying to maintain that as straight as I can without a lot of deviation happening in my lumbar spine. Here, out as high as I can, coming up. I'm gonna do 2 more kind of off to the side so you can kind of see me at this side angle. Here. I'm really just trying to gain as much range as we can. I'm just going to flip to the other side. That way you can see me from a different angle. Now I'm going to work on my right leg. Same deal. I'm really trying to maintain this nice upright posture. Not a lot of bending at the back spine, not a lot of bending backwards. But I really want to envision and feel that ball maneuvering in the socket. And you'll probably I feel a difference on this side already. Here, when I come up over here, I get a lot of hip flexion. So I have a discrepancy on my left leg. And we just kind of want it to be nice, slow, control. Not super slow, but again, that stance leg, we don't want that knee to unlock because we're still getting some motion through there too. So this leads into our single leg standing heel raise or calf raise. So I'm just going to go back to my left foot. It doesn't matter how you hold the other leg in the air, whatever feels comfortable, but I'm going to keep that knee nice and locked and really, really go up onto that toe and come back down. 10 on the right, 10 on the left. I think calf raises are completely overrated. Actually, underrated, I should say. We don't do enough of them in order to help our ankle joint as well as our Achilles tendon function more optimal. Plus, we're loading one leg, right? I lost count, I'm gonna do 2 more. Where we're getting all the weight bearing, or at least most of it, through one leg. We would also perform 10 on that right leg. So this leads into our last movement. We're gonna go back to those hip cars, except instead of starting backwards and rotating, we're gonna reverse that. So we're gonna flex our hip up, bring out to the side, and then end in the back. 5 on the right, 5 on the left. Again, the same concept. The stance leg, especially when we get into this full hip flexion, it's gonna wanna unlock. Fight that. Keep that knee nice and strong. You're gonna feel that glute muscle or butt muscle work as well. Don't shortchange yourself. This stuff matters. Yeah, I'll show you that last, because this actually does feel pretty good on my hips. Show you this last movement. I'm gonna come out to the side like this. Put my hand on my hip, flex, rotate out. Really, really gaining as much range as we can. Try not to let that trunk go side to side. Try to fight it. Try to be nice, upright. Envision and feel that ball rotating in the socket. You'll feel it, trust me. I think I might have 2 more. Don't forget that stance leg. Keep that knee nice and locked out. It's gonna help squeeze that butt cheek. All right. Whew. So that really hits the glutes. So really trying to get into that end range of motion. We're utilizing that first movement, that staggered stance, reach, ground to overhead. That's where that, as I talked before, that socket is going to rotate around the ball. And then these latter 2 movements, the hip cars, is where that ball is rotating within that socket, especially when we're moving that leg in the air. So pending your time constraints today, somewhere between 2, maybe 4 cycles, really kind of greasing those hip joints.